Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Jay Wise and Nathan Drinkard. I'm your host, Cody Ward. Thanks for spending some of your time with us tonight. As a reminder to all our listeners, besides being on all your favorite podcast platforms, A Drink of Wisdom is also available on YouTube, with each show segment available. Head on over, and if you like what you hear, we'd appreciate your subscription. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man? The beard, the drink, and the wisdom. Let's do it.
Let's talk some sports, baby.
Do just that. In episode 67, we discuss episodes 3 and 4 of The Last Dance and grade the drafts of each team in the AFC and NFC East. But we begin tonight with a look at a growing problem up in Green Bay. The Packers traded up in the first round of the draft last week to select Utah State quarterback Jordan Love with a 26th pick up from 30. The move was shocking since Rodgers is in the midst of a huge contract extension that'll run through 2023. Rodgers has said he wanted to play until he was at least 40 and has praised the team's aggressiveness in free agency and hoped to add some first-round talent to the offense. Well, they did, just not likely what he had in mind. There's been a lot made of the relationship between Rodgers and the team in the wake of the draft. So, Jay, it's pretty simple, man. Whose side are you on, Aaron Rodgers or the Green Bay Packers?
My position from last week after this pick was made has not changed, although I'm going to talk at a more leveled tone today, I believe. Listen, the Packers, when you look at them and you look at them last season, one game away from the Super Bowl, and I'm of the mindset that in that position, you would go about the business of making win now moves. Let's look at this. Brian Gutekunst in free agency last season, I thought he did a very fine job. I look at what he did with Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, Adrian Amos. They injected a lot of talent in that defense. Not to mention getting Darnell Savage in the draft. I thought he did a lot of things right. Not this time though. Jordan Love, I just don't see the need unless you drafted him in the first round to be a certified backup, which I don't think that's why you made this move. But this does nothing to help you win now because there's Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love aren't going to be at the field at the same time, and you had glaring needs at multiple other positions. You did nothing to address your defensive line, which we talked about. Kenny Clark, outside of him, they was pretty soft. Drink told as much of the season, and he was absolutely right. They couldn't stop the run, particularly against the 49ers, and they weren't all that stout against most other teams. So that's still going to be a problem moving forward. Your offensive line, you did bring in Rick Wagner to replace Brian Bulaga, so I think the offensive line will still be in decent shape. But then you go to the skill position groups, and we talked pre-draft. We were all about the wide receiver position because after Devontae Adams, it just didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense with whatever else you had going for it. Now you can listen to the general manager, and he can name a bunch of guys as like, oh well, Alan Lazard, he's emerging, and then we got MVS is out there and EQ, and come on, listen, man. When you use initials for players, we have to readily know who they are. The only reason we know who they are, that would be Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Aquamus St. Brown, is because we followed this stuff. Any other just casual fans are looking at you and saying, who are you talking about? Who is MVS? We don't know him. We sure don't know him from his production on the field, which was about 24 receptions and 2 touchdowns last season. And he came in supposed to be your number 2 receiver. You talk about Devin Funchess. Maybe he could be something for you. Well, you better hope so because other receivers that you had after Devontae Adams that were already on this roster, I just don't see it. And then Jimmy Graham's gone. You had Jay Sternberg. You drafted him last season. Now you have another tight end on your in the 3rd round this year, and Josiah DeGuara. So we'll see what those guys can come up with. And then running back, I looked at the running back position. I looked at a position of strength. Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones scored 16 touchdowns last season, and predominantly for much of the year, he was really the engine that had this offense performing as well as it did. And I think Jamal Williams definitely a capable complement to what Aaron Jones can give you. So I just look at that, and then I look at this draft. To me, they didn't get better. And even as the draft progressed, I hate to skip ahead to content that we'll have Friday. I think Green Bay did the poorest job across the board in this entire draft. I really do. And it's not just about the first round. I didn't see the need for them to have A.J. Dillon. You got another tight end there. I mean, you didn't use your tight ends all that much last year. And then no defensive lineman. So you're still going to be soft against the run. And then you look at what Bob McGinn wrote in The Athletic in his piece, and there just seems to be a power struggle developing here. And somehow, some way, Matt LaFleur has been given the keys to the city as if he's directly responsible for this 13-3 record that they got last year. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't see nothing all that impressive in Matt LaFleur. I wasn't impressed with him when they hired him. I'm not all that impressed now. It's a 13-3 record. I get it. You were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl, but you had Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. And primarily, when I looked at them throughout this last season, I looked at them in the first half of games. I thought they would start off pretty well. They looked to me as a team that was pretty good on script, but then as the second half would roll around, and I just didn't think they were all that impressive. I don't feel like they made a whole lot of adjustments. I don't feel like Matt LaFleur put them in great situations. And listen, that was his rookie year. That's fair to say he could improve. And we'll see how that goes. But as of right now, I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing from Matt LaFleur and Bryant Gutekunst right now. I'm not impressed with him. And so in that regard, I'm absolutely on the side of Aaron Rodgers. This draft that they just came up with, and I don't think they were all that great in free agency this time around either. They have not, to me, for a team that is in a perfect win now situation right now, they haven't helped their chances next season. And if it were me, I had to put money down right now, I'd take Minnesota to win this division over Green Bay.
Very well. So, I'm not into beating a dead horse, so I'm going to get straight to it. I don't think it's a secret when I say the Green Bay organization is going to move past Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if it's going to happen this season. Darren sure look like it's going to happen next season. So it is what it is. But to be honest, after gathering more info on this situation, I looked at Aaron Rodgers and I thought he looked average at best last year, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, he was crushed up by that run game. Defense was, so-so, but I didn't think he played out of his mind. So maybe, just maybe, the organization knows something about Aaron Rodgers that we're not privy to. So I'm gonna let that play out how it play out, but that's my opinion on that. It's something that we don't know about in the organization. They didn't had enough for Aaron Rodgers. They're gonna get him on out of here. Now, if he stays, how I look at this is a great opportunity for Aaron Rodgers to do, let's say, some image rehab here. This is an opportunity for that young player to come in. He can, prove the haters wrong and become somewhat of a leader or somewhat of a mentor for this young rookie, Jordan Love. Because when we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, his ability, he's still one of the best in the game, but his attitude leaves you a little more to be desired. And I think Aaron Rodgers this year will be a better quarterback than he was last year because now he has this new fire lit under him. So he's going to be out to prove everybody wrong, which is cool, whatever. But I just think you need to fix your image more than actually being the quarterback because I think this is where all this conversation is stemming from. But what I would like to see out of Aaron Rodgers this year is I would like for him to embrace a mentor role, make Jordan Love more of an all-around quarterback, and not have that lackluster attitude that Brent Favre had in the past. Big Ben had as of recently, hey, it's not my job. Okay, it's not your job, but you know what I'm saying? These quarterbacks come in, they look up to these veteran quarterbacks. I'm pretty sure a lot of quarterbacks that's coming into the league now look up to Aaron Rodgers for the things that he's done so far since being in the NFL. So how about you go back, you actually lay a pathway for some of these guys instead of worry about yourself the whole time, letting it be the Aaron Rodgers show. But, it is what it is. Now, as far as the organization goes, they are at fault. I'm not saying that they're not at fault. They are. Listen, you gave Aaron Rodgers 0 top 10 defenses in the 2010 decade. That ain't it. He inherited a coach that ain't showed us anything of any substance in his career yet. That ain't it. And then on top of all that, this year you decided to trade up, and as you traded up, we all said, "Oh, there go the wide receiver. Wide receiver coming." You traded up to get a quarterback instead of an elite wide receiver to help out your highly paid quarterback. That ain't it. But if I had to put all the pieces together, it seems to me as in, hey, you want to move on. If that's your choice, as an organization, you have the right to move on. So, listen, with that said, Aaron Rodgers need to come out, show everybody that he's still an elite quarterback and that he can do the things we think he can do, or he going to be replaced possibly next year by Jordan Love.
Yeah, this situation, man. I lean towards Aaron Rodgers here. In my opinion, is mostly because I feel like this team has undersold him. They've under-equipped him to win ever since their Super Bowl. These teams, they get a franchise quarterback. They so often use them as a crutch, and they say, "Oh, well, we got Aaron Rodgers. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do that." But we see Seattle do it right now. These guys do it with Rodgers, and there's other examples you can name if you want to go with like Indy and Luck and how bad some of their drafts were. But when you look at this team's history and how they've drafted and how they've put the team together, they've always been cheap in free agency until recently. They did spend this past year, like Jay said, and that's absolutely commendable. But they were cheap for years, and they were penny pinching. They were never the big splash, and they never wanted to bring those guys in. You look at how they drafted from 2015 to 2019. Three or four of their first four picks in all those drafts were defense. They took years and years to build the defense, and it's nice, but it's not like elite game carrying amount of level defense. The last time they took a player in the first round who was actually an offensive player besides Love was 2011. They took a tackle with number 32nd pick, and he's out of the league now, so I guess he wasn't very good. It speaks to. You also had the tweet where they talked about, of course, the how he's only thrown one touchdown to a first-round talent, which I'll give him some pass. Some of the wide receivers we've seen between now and then haven't been the best in the first round, so there's some argument made that there were some good second-round wide receivers. Not going to knock them too hard, but overall, it just seems like they've never prioritized putting a true winning team around him. They've never sold out to go, hey, we've got Aaron Rodgers, we're going to go and we're going to do everything we can to help this guy win. It's always just been, well, we'll have a nice team, we'll see how it goes. And I can feel like why Aaron Rodgers is now like, are you serious? Like, we got another window opening up, and this is what we do. We go out and get a project quarterback. And the thing is this, too, with Love, okay, and Drink, I mean, to your point, you're right. They could be up to something. They could know something. But you just signed this man to a gigantic contract. He has $79 million guaranteed at signing on this contract. So if you thought, okay, well, Rodgers is in our long-term plans, why would that be? And the only response I could think of was this new regime, I guess, just doesn't get along with him. Sometimes you see new regimes come in, new GM, new coach, and maybe they just don't want to put, tie their horse to this guy, so to speak. Sometimes that happens. Even with a guy like him, maybe they just rubs him the wrong way. I don't know. It's hard to tell. No one knows from the inside. But they may say, hey, we're not gonna hitch up to this guy for 3-4 years and put our careers on the line for him at this age. And maybe they wanted their own guy. But even if Jordan Love was like virtually guaranteed to be good, this still wouldn't make any sense because it doesn't help you right now and you have him under contract. So I can understand some level of foresight to go, okay, well, down the road, we can't play this dude forever. But this is just such a bizarre timing. And the fact that they traded up for this kid instead of, he fell to us and we just figured why not. No, you traded up to get him. You made a point to go get him. To me, that sends a message that this regime just doesn't want to deal with Rodgers for whatever reason. And I would think in 2 years that Jordan Love's going to be the starting quarterback in the Packers. But
Brian Gutekunst, he was named the general manager of this team early 2018, January 2018. It was 8 months later, August of 2018, that Aaron Rodgers got his extension. And I'll say to the point of Aaron Rodgers being difficult, I don't think that's something that's a secret anymore based on what we've heard recently. Brian Gutekunst, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been in the Packer organization longer than before he got named general manager. Right. So this whole notion of Aaron Rodgers being difficult, That's true. You can go ahead and put a stamp on that. You knew this when you paid him the money. You knew this, and I mean, in the past 2 seasons since signing that contract, I think it's fair to say Aaron Rodgers has not been the same the vintage Aaron Rodgers of he's not an MVP no more. I don't think he's probably not a top 5 quarterback anymore. I'd still put him in my top 10. But in the past 2 seasons, he's thrown 51 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. I'd be interested in that. I don't know about you.
You can win with that, in my opinion.
I think so. You just did. You went 13-3 last year, so something must have been going on correctly. So it's just a real head scratcher. I don't understand it. And based on his contract, you've got him for the next 2 years. I don't think you can. I don't think if you're Green Bay, I mean, I guess you could throw Jordan Love in whenever, but it's just too much money to be just riding on the bench for a guy who is still very productive. And in key situations, if you need a late drive, I still want Aaron Rodgers having the football. So in the end, I still don't understand it.